Harry's wife. Team Wales versus Team Sussex. With the arrival of the Prince and Princess of Wales in the United States for the Earthshot event, and, of course, Harry and Harry's wife with the Bort Award at the RFK Foundation shenanigans, it's quite the contrast, and it's, of course, enabling the press to get into a frenzy of whipped-up excitement, pitching these two teams against one another. And Valentine Lowe in The Times writes, Kennedy cousins choose their sides in royal rift between Sussex and Wales. For followers of the divisions that have torn apart the royal family, the question that is often asked is, are you Team Sussex or Team Wales? For their American supporters, there is a new parallel question. Are you Team JFK or Team RFK? This week, the Prince and Princess of Wales will be in the United States for the Earthshot Prize ceremony, the second year of Prince William's £50 million environmental prize, which was inspired by John F. Kennedy's moonshot program in the 1960s, will be held in Boston, Kennedy's birthplace. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, whose relationship with the Waleses has not recovered from the accusations they levelled at the royal family in their Oprah Winfrey interview, collateral consequence of the damage of a relationship between siblings as an occasion to buy the behaviour of the narcissist, have already garnered some Kennedy kudos with the announcement that they are to receive a Nipple of Grope Award at a gala in New York on December the 6th. The gala is organised by the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Foundation, named after JFK's younger brother, the former U.S. Attorney General who was assassinated in 1968. It will be hosted by Kerry Kennedy, 63, RFK's daughter, who praised the Sussexes for having the courage to take on the royal family's power structure. Now, details have been announced of the Wales' 3-day trip to Boston, and that announcement has undoubtedly caused there to be a small thermonuclear explosion in the Monty Shitshow area, because it quite simply shits all over the offering that the Sussexes have. At Friday's Earthshot ceremony, which is being held at a music venue next to Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox baseball team, they will be joined by stars including Annie Lennox, Ellie Goulding and Billie Eilish. As opposed to Harry's wife's event, where it's going to be presented by somebody that killed somebody and who is a very angry narcissist. Something, of course, which I have detailed in the extensive series about Alec Baldwin and his wife Hilary Baldwin. Go and have a watch of those. The article continues. There will be echoes of moonshot in the form of contributions from Caroline Kennedy, 65, the US ambassador to Australia, who is JFK's only surviving child, and her son Jack Schlossberg, 29, a lawyer. Caroline, Kennedy Kennedy's cousin, will also host a visit by the Prince to the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library. There is no more important moonshot today than repairing the planet, she has said. The cousins have not always aligned politically. Before the 2008 presidential race, Caroline backed Barack Obama for the Democratic nomination, while Kerry supported Hillary Clinton. Now they find themselves on opposite sides of the Sussex-Wales divide. Kerry Kennedy, a lawyer and human rights activist, said of the Sussexes in an interview with a Spanish news website, they went to the oldest institution in UK history and told them what they were doing was wrong, that they couldn't have structural racism within the institution, that they could not maintain a misunderstanding about mental health. They knew that if they did this, there would be consequences, that they would be ostracized, they would lose their family, their position within this structure, and that people would blame them for it. They have done it anyway because they believe they couldn't live with themselves if they didn't question this authority. I think they have been heroic in taking this step. Now, I don't think Kerry Kennedy has dreamt this up herself to think, oh, this is what they've done, so I'm going to talk about it, but rather she's been told this. And she's been told this by Harry's wife or representatives of Harry's wife, whereby her narcissism has revised history. We all know Harry's wife was welcomed into the royal family. We know that she was given a staff of 14 to help her integrate, that Sophie Wessex was nominated to help her understand things and to be shown the ropes, although she rejected that. We know that there were reports about her bullying the staff, that her behaviour has been commented upon by both Valentine Lowe and Tom Bower in detail. We know that she was afforded special privileges that other people had not received. And yet, she claims that the royal family was racist. Not only is that at odds with her actual treatment, the fact is there doesn't appear to be any evidence to support that she said that there is structural racism here and I cannot tolerate this, but rather this is a revision of history, that having run away from the royal family because it wouldn't bend to her will, and therefore her narcissism commanded her to essentially apply the third assertion of controlled withdrawal, thereafter, in order to make it look like she was valiant and heroic, rather than state it as it was, I tried to make them do things and change the institution. They didn't like that, and therefore I had a cob on and a sulk when they wouldn't do what I wanted, so I petulantly cleared off to Canada, yanking old ginger bollocks behind me, and then California. And also, I'd always intended really to leave because I just saw it as a merching opportunity and I was already getting my ducks in a row in that regard. Instead, what I'm going to do is make out that I was prejudiced, that people were racist towards me, and that I made a brave, bold stand against this. And I'm going to tell everybody that there was structural racism within the institution which I stood up to, and that I could not tolerate a misunderstanding about mental health. I'm also going to tell people that I knew that telling them these things would go down badly and that they would react to that and they would lash out. And therefore I knew that they would ostracize me, that I would lose my family, that me and my husband would lose our position within the structure. And then after all that, they would make out that I'm the problem. Yes, that's what actually happened. And I knew all of that, but I still made a stand because I am both sitting in my authenticity and I am heroically beige. All of this, of course, is utter hogwash. And believe me, I have seen this time and time again by the mid-range of my ilk. Not only those that I know about within my own personal life, but the people that I have advised with regard to their situations involving mid-range narcissists. The revision of history whereby the narcissist is clearly at fault and then, unable to get their own way, runs away from the problem, assertion of control through withdrawal, and then paints an alternative history of them making a heroic stand and that they've been drummed out of town for doing the right thing. That's simply what Harry's wife is doing here, and it is utterly transparent. The Earthshot prizes, the article continues, will be presented by the actor Rami Malek, the comedian Catherine O'Hara, and the actress Shailene Woodley. The show will be co-hosted by the BBC's Clara Amfo and the Korean-American actor and producer Daniel Dae Kim. Sir David Attenborough and Kate Blanchett, who are both members of the prize council that picked the winners, contributed voice recordings. Heavyweight indeed. And again, all over Harry's wife's setup. Despite the Sussexes getting their award 4 days after the Earthshot ceremony, sources close to the Walesers have said they are determined not to be distracted while they're in the United States. In other words, we are adopting the excellent advice of not giving a fig about what Ginger Bollocks and his handler are up to. During their 3 days in Boston, the Prince and Princess will visit a number of projects to hear what is being done around climate change and the environment in the city. So, those are the views of Valentine Lowe as Team Sussex is pitted against Team Wales, and on that evidence so far, Team Sussex are getting royally dumped upon. But what about below the line? What do people think? What's the measure of their views at the moment in relation to this information? Lamerd Duchat states, I thought the Sussexes left the royal family to have a life out of the spotlight and to avoid media attention. Well, indeed, but we know that's the hypocrisy of Harry's wife. Canada Goose, one brother doing something for all of us, the other one just talking about himself all the time. Brian Meredith adding, and whinging about how hard his life has been. Joyce Swan. So one brother gives an award for great work to save our planet, and the other receives an award for his wife telling the world that the family is racist. Dib replies, you can see where the brains are. Ray jumps in. The Sussexes are receiving their reward for their work with resettling Afghan refugees, support for organisations in Ukraine, campaigning for US parents to receive paid parental leave. Well, that's not got very far. Online safety. Doing what? The Who. Doing what? Vaccine equity across the world. What? Appearing on a stage. World Central Kitchen. What? Making some announcements and using other people's work. Funny how the Times can't manage to find this information from the RFK Human Rights Foundation, but managed to find an obscure Spanish magazine interview with Kerry Kennedy several weeks later, which asked her what she thought about accusations of racism in the royal family. At least the Times has finally stopped saying this is the reason the Sussexes are getting the award. Meanwhile, no criticism of William and Kate's use of helicopters, light taxis and frequent private jet use while preaching about climate change. Well, that, Ray, is because people actually like them, because they're generally decent people. And yes, you could level some degree of hypocrisy at them also for the use of private jets while preaching about climate change. But the fact is, they don't go around taking dumps on people left, right and centre and using victim status. Anne responds to that. The Sussexes talk about doing things but never actually get round to doing anything. Self-promoters and everything, but achieve so little with so much noise. Contemptible narcissists. Rick, it's ridiculous to suggest that they have done anything meaningful for this wide variety of causes. It would be impossible in the time that they've been in the USA to achieve any advance in any one of those issues. So Rick going to the evidence, which shows nothing has happened, but also you wouldn't expect anything to have happened with those things in the short space of time. JH, as Harry was recently photographed in Hawaii, he presumably swam there. XLS Rider, they have a number of Ukrainians living in the spare bathrooms in Monteshitsho. They're referred to as our people, or in shorthand, the servants. Mary Jo, remind me how many Ukrainian refugees they are sharing their multi-million-dollar house with. Heart's Lady, Harry resettling Afghan refugees. Where from? The United States. And again demonstrates that people aren't accepting this suggestion that they have been doing all of these things. Richard Carter, it takes a certain type of person to stab their family in the back. How interesting that there is now a prize for such behaviour. Accordingly, whilst there was one spirited attempt to defend the Sussexes, once again, people see straight through that and do not have much truck with the Sussexes. Priscilla Cullen saying, well, we all know what happens to ripples, they disappear. As the press set this up for some titanic battle between the two houses, it's evident so far who's out in front and where the support is going to, which all, of course, will infuriate Harry's wife as a consequence of wounding her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.